Woo! Thanks for coming out. This isn't the beach. I mean, it is. I wanted to start off by acknowledging that you are all here because you care about something. Your issue might be women's leadership, it might be indigenous initiatives, it might be plastic pollution. Maybe you're here because you just were looking for the beach too, like me. But whatever issue is yours, I believe that we need to get more young people aware of it and engaged in it. From my experience, there are a lot of people my age and younger who could be major assets to our movement. But they've avoided getting involved because they've been inundated with too much negative information right off the bat, and it's been overwhelming. I really want more young people to become engaged in your important issues. I'm an investigative journalist and a pro surfer, and I started surfingforchange.com, which is a video series where I travel around with a cameraman, and we cover bold environmental and social issues through the lens of action sports, usually surfing. This is a trip we took down to Nicaragua last year. This was probably the best wave I got on the trip. It's a really memorable one. But we went down to shoot the adverse effects surf tourism is having on this little community in Nicaragua, and a group that is working to come up with a new model of sustainable tourism. Yeah, thanks. Our videos are really, we make them in bite-sized chunks. They're for the person who won't sit through the hour-and-a-half long documentary. Sometimes it's funny, like, I feel like our videos, because we highlight an organization through each video, we try and tell personal stories of the people who are actually out there doing this really important work. It's funny because sometimes I feel like we're kind of like, the people who stand on the street corners, with like the signs who are trying to get you to like go to each of like into the business. Like, I kind of feel like sometimes what Surfing for Change is we're like the guys on the street corner, like trying to get people involved. In all seriousness, I do believe that Surfing for Change can be a major conduit to connecting more young people with the environmental movement. I'm really proud to say that we've succeeded in engaging a huge number of people on issues ranging from proposed coal power plant in Chile to textile working conditions in Sri Lanka. To our most recent video, we went to Indonesia to cover the waste epidemic there. This is an Indonesian pro surfer who's actually getting barreled in trash. They say that a picture tells 1,000 words, and I think that this is a pretty good example of that. This is an interview we did with Pat Putra at his temple. He's one of the main guys working to systemically shift the waste management systems on Bali. He's doing some really important work. It was a really cool interview. We got to go to the Uluwatu temple to interview him, which is this beautiful place, but there's monkeys all around the temple, and they kept trying to steal our camera gear when we weren't looking. I really understand how lucky I am to be able to do this kind of work. A lot of the issues that we cover aren't happening in my local community. Like I said, I live in Santa Cruz, and while we do... Anyone from Santa Cruz out in the audience? Yeah. While we do have big issues in our community facing us today, we are lucky enough to not need to wake up coughing because we have a coal plant in our city. And we are privileged enough to not need to take a bus out of our neighborhood just to get access to local and healthy food. But, by telling these kinds of stories and by traveling around making these videos, that's what makes me feel most alive. And I believe that it's through these kinds of personal stories that a lot of people can become moved to get involved in issues in a way that they otherwise wouldn't. And I believe that if you leave here today and begin to talk about your important work to young people from a place of personal passion and storytelling, then that's one really important way that we're going to be able to grow our movement exponentially and solve a lot of these problems that we care about. Thank you so much.